Please like and subscribe. At 4:17 local time, 8 Ukrainian drones were navigating a lightless Russian river valley. They held 200 meters altitude, tasting the air. No GPS, no radar emissions. Just cold barometric sensors checking pressure against preloaded terrain data. For 50 kilometers, the plan was flawless. That was when the old wolf sniffed the air. Miles away, a Russian Mi-24 attack helicopter on an unscheduled patrol wasn't looking. It was listening. Its acoustic sensors registered the thin, unnatural whine of 8 electric motors. The pilot, a veteran, was already turning his heavy machine toward the sound, weapons hot. The ghosts were about to be seen, but the drones weren't the real play. Not yet. Back in Ukraine, 2 Neptune missiles suddenly roared from their launchers, climbing fast and bright. They were loud, arrogant, and designed to be seen. And every Russian radar, from local Bryansk to Moscow, immediately locked onto them. They took the bait. The magic trick had begun. The first Neptune missile was the opening act. It screamed toward 15,000 feet. Its radar cross-section the size of a small car. No stealth, no subtlety, just, here I am, come and get me. In a hardened S-400 command bunker, an operator saw the track paint his screen. This was what his billion-dollar S-400 system was built for. He locked onto it instantly. His system could track dozens of targets, but the operator only cared about this one missile climbing into his engagement envelope. This was a textbook kill. Meanwhile, the lead drone continued its silent hunt, navigating the river valley at 200 meters. Its barometric altimeter checked altitude against terrain data every tenth of a second. No GPS pings. No radar emissions. It was navigating like a submarine. Behind it, 7 drones followed in loose formation, keeping separation. A warning in Drone 5's processor. Its proximity sensor saw them. Power lines, 200 meters ahead. The drone's processor executed a pre-programmed climb, clearing the unseen cables by 3 meters before diving back. In sequence, the others followed, their navigation systems learning. While the drones were dodging power lines, the second Neptune began its run. It didn't go high. It went low, treetop level. It was threading between hills at 900 kilometers per hour. Its radar altimeter was screaming, minimum safe altitude exceeded. But this missile's job was to be seen. Just not yet. Drone 1's acoustic sensor registered its passage 2 kilometers south. The Neptune was just the flashy assistant in a magic show. The Russians were distracted looking at it, missing the real threat. Back in the S-400 bunker, 2 interceptor missiles launched, pulling 30 Gs. The intercept was textbook. 8 seconds from launch to impact. The Neptune disintegrated at 15,000 feet, transformed into 10,000 pieces of expensive confetti. The operators were celebrating when someone pointed at the screen. "Sir, where did the other one go?" The second Neptune had vanished. It had dropped below the radar horizon. No matter how expensive your radar is, it can't see through a planet. The magic trick was far from over. The second Neptune was now threading between hills at 50 feet, invisible. But even this missile wasn't the real attack. Think of it like kicking in someone's front door. Everyone runs to look at the guy banging on the door. Nobody checks the windows. That's what Ukraine was doing. The Neptunes were the noise. The drones were the burglars. As the second Neptune continued, Drone 2's forward camera detected movement. A convoy on the M3 highway. 3 BTRs heading northeast. The drone's threat processor labeled them non-immediate and held course. But one soldier in that convoy had stepped out to answer nature's call. He heard it. That distinctive, high-pitched lawnmower buzz overhead. He grabbed his radio. Multiple low-flying aircraft heading northeast. The secret was out. Within 30 seconds, Sector Command was triangulating reports. The math wasn't hard. 8 contacts heading toward the pipeline station. The Beavers scattered into pre-programmed evasion patterns. Drones 6, 7, and 8 went north, hugging the railroad. Drones 3, 4, and 5 dove deeper into the valley. Drones 1 and 2 stayed high and obvious. Somebody had to play target. Drone 4's infrared camera suddenly went white hot. Helicopter exhaust 8 kilometers behind and closing. The Mi-24's turbines were putting out enough heat to light up the drone's entire sensor array. The processor did simple math. Helicopter speed 280, Drone speed, 150. Intercept in 3.7 minutes. Mission timer showed 9 minutes to target. This was gonna get real interesting, real fast. Right on cue, the magician played his final card. The second Neptune suddenly pulled up from the deck, climbing hard toward 5,000 feet. Every radar that had lost it immediately reacquired. Alarms screaming across 3 provinces. But why expose itself now just 10 kilometers from the pipeline? Unless it wasn't aiming for the pipeline at all. The Mi-24 Hind emerged from the gloom above. The pilot, Victor, was Afghan war vintage, dragged out of retirement. His gunner, Yuri, was younger, simulator trained, and about to learn the difference. They'd been on patrol when Sector Command vectored them. Multiple low-flying contacts. Go delete whatever's buzzing around out there. Yuri squinted into the dim horizon through the optical sight. No thermal imaging, no fancy sensors, just his Mark 1 Mod 1 eyeballs. The beam swept the valley. The chin-mounted 12.7mm Yak-B Gatling gun was slave to his helmet. Wherever he looked, the gun pointed. Great system for shooting tanks. Not so great for hitting something the size of a suitcase darting through the half-light. Contact, Yuri yelled, spotting Drone 2. The Hind fired. A stream of tracers cut into empty air. The gun could pump out 4,000 rounds per minute, but that didn't help. Drone 2's microphones caught the supersonic snaps overhead. It had no playbook for this, no barrel roll, no jink. So it flew on while Yuri chased the speck he could barely hold in the glass. The problem wasn't the Hind's speed, it was the geometry. At this range, the drone ripped across Yuri's reticule faster than the turret could slew. Forever, a half-second late. Tracers blurred into the haze. To keep the fixed cannon on, Victor had to swing the whole nose, riding the pedals at high power. The Hind wasn't losing to a lack of speed. It was losing to angles, lag, and physics. 3 rounds eventually caught Drone 2 center mass. More luck than skill. The telemetry feed cut instantly. Wreckage cartwheeling into a wheat field below. 1 down, 7 to go. Yuri was feeling good until Victor reminded him they just burned through 400 rounds to hit 1 drone. At this rate, they'd be Winchester on ammo before they got half of them. Drones 3, 4, and 5 were threading through the river valley when Drone 3's forward camera caught the problem. Bridge dead ahead. Too low to fly under, too sudden to go around. The lead drone's processor executed emergency climb. All 3 drones popped up simultaneously, breaking cover like rabbits from a bush. Victor was ready this time. Rockets, he ordered, switching to the S8 rocket pods, 80mm unguided rockets. Completely extra for drones, but Russians don't do subtle. It was like using a sledgehammer on mosquitoes. 4 rockets rippled from the pods. Drone 4 took a direct hit. There 1 second, spare parts the next. Drone 5 caught blast fragments in its left wing, immediately lost stability. It spiraled into the river, 3 down. But Drone 3 made it over the bridge and immediately dove back to safety. The Mi-24 lost it in the ground clutter. The drone found a new route through narrow valleys where the helicopter's 60-foot rotors simply wouldn't fit. The second Neptune made its final run, climbing to 3,000 feet. Just 8 kilometers from the pipeline station. The Panzer S-1 battery commander had been waiting for this exact moment. The S-400 crew 40 kilometers away had embarrassed themselves. He would not. The missile was high enough and close enough for a solid lock. The Panzer's targeting computer calculated the intercept solution in half a second. 4 57E6 missiles rippled from the launcher, each one pulling 20 Gs. This was over the top. The intercept was a massive fireball that lit up the early morning sky. The Russian defenders cheered. 2 Neptunes destroyed. Crisis averted. Medals all around. The battery commander was already composing his report when someone should have asked the obvious question. Why would Ukraine waste 2 expensive missiles on a target they couldn't hit? But nobody asked. Everyone was watching the fireball fade, satisfied, which is exactly when drones 6, 7, and 8 approached from the north, following railroad tracks at 50 meters altitude. Completely undetected because every sensor was pointed south at the pretty explosion, except for one. Drone 8's proximity sensor suddenly triggered. Another helicopter was rising from behind the trees, 2 kilometers ahead. This Mi-24's gunner did something clever. He turned off the searchlight and switched to infrared, scanning for the drone's warm motors glowing faintly against the cooling ground. Suddenly, drones 6, 7, and 8 were perfectly illuminated. The gunner opened up with the 12.7mm, firing controlled bursts. Drone 6 took hits immediately, 3 rounds through the fuselage. It kept flying but started losing altitude, bleeding hydraulic fluid. Drone 7 banked hard left, using the only evasion tactic programmed. Random direction changes every 3 seconds. The helicopter followed, narrowing in on Drone 7. But this meant ignoring Drone 8, which continued straight toward the tank farm. 2 helicopters, 3 drones. Someone was going to get through. The first Mi-24 with Victor and Yuri was still chasing Drone 3, down to 300 rounds and getting frustrated. Victor tried to coordinate with the second helicopter over radio, but they were on different frequencies. Typical Russian military communication failure. So now they had 2 helicopters hunting independently. While the helos struggled, the last line of defense was setting up. 4 Russian soldiers were taking positions on rooftops. Each carried an Igla-S MANPADS, a Soviet-era shoulder-fired missile with a dual-band infrared seeker. The first soldier swept his seeker head across the sky looking for heat signatures. The Igla's infrared eye could spot a jet engine from 6 kilometers away. Those run at 600 degrees Celsius. Attack helicopters run cooler but still put out 400-degree exhaust. Even a Cessna's engine glows at 300 degrees above ambient. The seeker found nothing. Drone 3 was 800 meters away, closing fast, but its tiny piston engine was running at maybe 80 degrees above ambient. On a cool morning, that's about as hot as a lawnmower. The Igla needed at least a 3-degree differential to maintain lock, but against the cool air, the drone was only showing 2 degrees. The soldier could hear it, that distinctive lawnmower buzz, but the missile couldn't see it. He fired anyway. The missile erupted from the tube, accelerated hard for 2 seconds. Then its guidance system realized it had nothing to track. It went ballistic, arcing through the air like a $120,000 bottle rocket. 3 more soldiers tried, same result. It was like trying to use a heat-seeking missile on an ice cube. But the 4th soldier got lucky, his missile's proximity fuse. Designed to detonate when it got within lethal range, detected something at 15 meters altitude. The warhead exploded. Drone 8, the one that got past the helo, happened to be passing through that sphere. Fragments peppered its starboard wing. The drone's accelerometer detected the asymmetric drag. It started losing altitude, wobbling toward the tank farm, but it kept flying. Meanwhile, Drone 1, boring, obvious forgotten Drone 1, reached the main transformer substation. Its infrared camera matched the target profile. The warhead armed. The Zu-23 crews opened fire blind, muzzle flashes lighting up the sky. But these guns were designed when night vision meant squinting harder. The iron sights had tiny light bulbs, just enough to see the crosshairs, not what you're shooting at. The Shilka's radar could track the drones. But its Atari-level computer didn't recognize something this slow as a threat. To the Shilka, the drones looked like wind-blown trash bags. The system kept dropping track. It was too late. Drone 6 hit the pumping substation doing 180 kilometers per hour. 20 kilograms of explosive punched through the thin roof, detonating among the pumps. The blast wave ruptured every pipe. Petroleum erupted like a geyser, vaporizing. And then the drone's burning wreckage provided the spark. Drone 3, the one that escaped Victor, approached the control building. A Zu-23 gunner caught the movement, held the trigger down. Pure luck. 3 rounds caught the drone's tail. Drone 3's processor registered a catastrophic control failure. Time to target, 8 seconds. Time until uncontrolled crash, 8 seconds. It plowed into the control building at terminal velocity. Its warhead detonated among the computer banks. The pipeline system was now running blind. Drone 7 reached tank number 2. It climbed sharply, trading speed for altitude. For one perfect moment, it hung motionless at apogee. Then gravity took over. The drone dove straight down. The damaged drone, number 8, wobbled toward tank number 3. Its battery finally went kaput. 50 meters from the tank, it glided the rest of the way on momentum, crashing into the tank's base. Both tanks ruptured simultaneously. This wasn't just a leak. This was a bleave, a boiling, liquid, expanding vapor explosion. The petroleum didn't have time to flow out. It instantly vaporized, expanding 1,000 to 1,100 times in volume. The math was simple and terrible. 10,000 tons of liquid became 17 million tons of explosive vapor in less than a second. The blast wave moved faster than a rifle bullet. Every other tank in the farm ruptured like dominoes made of dynamite. The Stalnoyka pipeline was gone. The Druzhba connection severed. Those 8 drones that just deleted a pipeline worth billions cost less than what the US government spends in 5 seconds. Please like and subscribe.